Well, it is often said these days that you can't take it with you when you go, but if you were an ancient Egyptian, not only could you take it with you, but you should take as much as possible. I'm the bedbug guy. Welcome. Today we're going to talk about preparing for the ancient Egyptian afterlife. Uh, Please give me a subscribe if you would. My subscriber button is feeling really lonely. And I'll throw in some cat shorts occasionally too. Now, throughout history, ever since humans realized that they had an expiration date, cultures have come up with versions of what happens after you hit the lightning round when you pass away. It's either spanning from nothing to reincarnation to some sort of holy paradise to, I don't know, an eternal, all-inclusive club. As far as the ancient Egyptians were concerned, it was a big event. This was moving on to basically another life. And you would prepare for this as soon as you could start. And there's a few essentials that you would need for the end of your life. And the first thing is something that most people with means would start on as soon as they thought about it. And that is a tomb. Now, it doesn't matter if it's just a tomb or a hole in the ground. Most people with means would definitely try and get an underground rock-cut tomb. And that tomb serves as basically your moving van to the next life and to keep everything secure. Now, in the past, in the Old Kingdom and whatnot, they did view it as sort of a representation of your house in the afterlife, but for the most part, it was just the place to keep everything secure as you moved to the next life. And in the tombs, if you could afford it, you're going to have a lot of decoration, paintings of idealized everyday life, showing an abundance and what you did for a living, things like that. A lot of writing. But this is something you didn't have to be dead to get. This is something you would work on as you were still alive. But on that day, where it's time to move, you're going to need the most important thing, and that is a complete and recognizable body. Now, this is where the embalmers come in. And first they would work to preserve your body in the embalming process of drying it out and turning it into a big piece of jerky, and then wrapping it up to preserve it. So it would stay, it wouldn't disintegrate, it would stay recognizable. And then you could add a couple of insurance policies on that. A death mask, like King Tut's, so you would have a more permanent representation of yourself with the body. Or if you couldn't afford that, sometimes they would just paint your portrait on the mummy. And another layer of insurance would be the anthropomorphoid coffin, which is the coffin in the shape of your body, and then it was made to look like an idealized portrait of you, and then they could nest those. So you had all these insurance policies to make sure that your soul could recognize your body, because they believed your soul could go back and forth between here and there, but everything had to be represented into the next life. So you get all that done. And also, when I say complete, if you're missing anything, the embalmer would take care of that. If you miss a finger, an eye, something like that, they're going to fashion some sort of fundamental replacement before they wrap your body. That way, when they close the tomb and it's time to get up, you pop out, everything works, and you can start your journey to the west. Now, vast majority of all burial sites, tombs, were on the west bank of the Nile, because it would be such a pain in the nuts if you wake up to make your journey to the judgment hall and you got to cross a river too. There's a whole lot involved with that. But When you pop out, your soul pops out, get ready to head west. There's one more thing if you have the means that you should have, and that's a Book of the Dead. And the Book of the Dead is sort of like a guidebook that you would need. Now, in the Old Kingdom, in tubes they would paint this on the walls, and then later as they went on, they would just make custom papyrus scrolls to explain it. Now, I have a copy of the Book of the Dead. I have a couple copies, and these are all off of the Book of the Dead of a scribe named Annie. And these Books of the Dead, his is 23.5 meters long. It's very lengthy. It's not a pamphlet. But what it gives, in a nutshell, I don't want to go into detail of the Book of the Dead. Maybe another video, if I can get 500 subscribers, I'll go through this Book of the Dead. It's quite lengthy. But as you make your journey west to the Judgment Hall, you're going to encounter some entities and situations, and it gives instructions on how to deal with those situations, or the right things to say, some magical spells, some hymns to sing to the gods. There's gates to pass that you're going to have to deal with. It's good to have a little foreknowledge and maybe a little instruction on how to deal with it. Now, when you go west and you reach the Judgment Hall, it turns out there's going to be a line at the door. So this Book of the Dead will act as a fast pass, so you could get past the bouncer and the velvet rope. So you can go up, say the right spell, go into the Judgment Hall. So now when you get to the Judgment Hall, when you walk in the door, you're going to be met by somebody you know. A little aside, past this point, you're going to hear a lot of familiar things that cross many cultures. But let's get back to the ancient Egyptians. You're going to be met by somebody you know, a relative, a parent, spouse, sibling, child, somebody that's already over there. And they're going to meet and go with you on the rest of the journey and to present you for judgment. In this case, it's Annie's wife. Okay, and as you walk into the hall, there's a gallery of gods there to observe, and apparently you have to address all of them. There's about 42. But from what I understand, you could address them all at once. You didn't have to go through each one individually. But after this gallery, you see Anubis, the jackal-headed god, with a balance scale. And behind him, Jehudi, or as Greek name, Thoth, as the scribe, to record the proceedings, because the bureaucracy is eternal. Okay, it followed you there too. And sitting behind them is this crocodile, leopard, hippo looking thing called Ammit. We'll get to him in a second. So you get presented for judgment. You're going to see there's three little aspects of Annie there. One's his Ba, which is his soul, and then the one that looks like the full body, that's his destiny, and then there's a little one that's the embryo. Just all aspects of you meet there. But you got to go to the scale, and when you get there, Anubis is going to take your heart and put it on the scale. And the reason why they took the heart is the ancient Egyptians believed that that's where your soul and your consciousness resided, was in your heart. I mean, when you get excited, it beats hard. When you're in love, you feel it in your chest. So they thought that's what it was. He's going to take this heart, he's going to put it on the scale on one side, and on the other side is a feather, and that feather is called Ma'at, and that's truth. Okay? So ideally, you want those to be balanced. Okay? Or you want your heart to be lighter than that feather. So being lighthearted pays off. Chances are that's probably where we get that phrase from. If you're balanced or lighter, you're good to go. And Thoth records it and you move on. If you're a really bad person, a horrible person, your heart will be heavy with the misdeeds and lies and all that, and it'll weigh more than the feather. Now, if that happens, Anubis takes your heart and throws it into the mouth of Ammit there, and Ammit is the soul devourer. Because there is no purgatory, no hell, if you will, no place to be forgiven. If you're a bad soul, your punishment is non-existence. Once Ammit eats your soul, you're done. So you really want to work hard in your life to make sure that heart is light. Okay? Now after this, overseeing all this, is Osiris and his wife Isis and maybe her sister. And you're presented to Osiris, you do a lot of praise work and offerings, and then you're welcomed into the afterlife, the land of the dead. So you walk through that door, and what was the afterlife like? Well, in the words of the noted Egyptologist Dr. Bob Breyer, the afterlife was just like this, except it was air conditioned. If you get what I'm saying. It was just a continuation, except for it was a little better. And a lot you didn't have to worry about. You're not going to get sick or hurt or die. But it was just like this. Now here's the thing. When they show you to your new house, it's not furnished. Here's where that tomb full of stuff comes in. So you want to make sure in that tomb is a few things. You want to make sure you have your furniture, your clothes, your jewelry, your toiletries, your cookware, all your kitchen essentials. If you have a ride, you want to bring the wheels too. You know, you're going to need all this stuff. Also, your favorite beverages as well, because maybe your favorite beverage manufacturers aren't available on the other side yet. So you want to make sure you have your favorite stuff. Also, there's a good chance that your favorite chef or your favorite restaurant also are not available on the other side. So you're going to want a to-go order. For example, King Tut took several hundred pressed ducks because that was his favorite thing. Okay, now, here's the situation. If you forgot something, if you forgot your toothbrush, or you didn't bring any of this stuff, you're going to have to buy it. And in order to buy it, unless you brought a check that you could cash when you get there, you're going to have to work. Okay? Here's a good news, bad news time. In the ancient Egyptian afterlife, no matter who you were or what your status was, you were required to work if needed. Because it was just like here, they still needed butchers, bakers, farmers, brewers, jewelers, craftsmen, and construction labor to keep the whole society going in the afterlife. The good news is no matter who you are or what your status was, you could get out of it by including one more thing in your tomb, and that's called an Ushabti. Ushabtis are just little figurines with your name and a spell on them, and they don't have to be perfect. It's like you could make these while you were still alive. So poor people would actually do this. They've found very crude ones that look like cigarettes, really. They're just sticks with a face, a name, and the spell on it. And the word Ushabti means answerer. So what would happen is if you bring your Ushabtis with you, when they come around the corvée workers to get things done in the afterlife, and they come to your section and they call your name to work, one of the Ushabtis would pop up, come to life, and go, "Here I am," go out and work, and you would get paid. So you could go golf or go shopping or whatever while your Ushabti went and worked on that day. Now here's the thing about Ushabtis. They have a really good union. They can only work one day a year. So you have to have a minimum of 365 Ushabtis with you in your tomb. And I think King Tut had over 1,000. I guarantee he's never going to work. So if you do that, if you bring all your stuff, then you won't have to buy it. If you bring all your favorite food, then you won't have to, deal with whatever substandard stuff they have over there. at least until your favorite chef gets there and opens his restaurant. Bring your own shopties. You don't have to work. You can go out and play golf, have brunch with everybody, get hammered, as long as you brought enough beer. All in all, you could have a pretty good time in the Egyptian afterlife. You'd still run into everybody you know. You can bring your pets too, as it turns out. If your favorite pet dies, you can have it mummified and throw it in the tomb with you, and bam, it's at the house when you get there. Your favorite cat, your favorite dog, your favorite bird, and in their case, your favorite baboon sometimes. All in all, not bad. Well, that's all I have to say about that. Just the basic way to prepare for the ancient Egyptian afterlife. Let me know what you think. If you would go for that, let me know if you want me to cover the entire Book of the Dead. You need to give me some more subscribers if I'm going to do that. That's a long video. Maybe I'd do it in a live so people can participate. Other than that, please subscribe, please like. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks.